Hey guys! So during the time that I'm recording this video, I am currently in the middle of editing a video. It's a Madoka video that is related to Nagisa. When I make videos, I would imagine that a lot of you guys can probably feel the passion that I have behind a lot of them that I do, or probably all of them. During the time of this recording, I have a particular idea of a video that I want to make, but the problem is, I'm having a difficult time getting it out for some reason. And one thing that has kind of come to my mind as I'm sitting here trying to figure this out is, when you think about the Madoka characters, and you essentially could use any one of them, maybe for this we'll focus on Mami-san. We know that Mami is a veteran magical girl who is very skillful, who's very intelligent. She's a senpai to the other girls, but the thing is, we don't really get very many opportunities to see Mami's journey and the idea of what it took for her to become this amazing senpai, this amazing, very multi-talented person, and the idea of being a magical girl. But we just know that she obviously went through something in order for her to become who we know her to be. You could say that's a different story manga, and perhaps Madoka Portable gives us a little bit of insight as to what she went through, but we're still not able to get the full story. I feel like in Madoka Portable and Different Story, you're only just getting little snippets of Mami and the idea of what she had to go through to become who she inevitably becomes. But one thing that I can imagine in relationship to Mami, because one thing that the Madoka series does is that it goes out of its way to portray, the characters as being very human, characters that we can relate to, which is why many of us love them. Taking that into consideration, it's really easy to believe that most likely, even though we didn't see it, Mami probably had to go through a lot in order for her to become the kind of person that she was, because I feel like you don't just become a strong person in the Madoka series without having to go through some crap in order to become who you are. And an example of this is, you can look at Homura. If you look at Homura and how she is portrayed when she's in the very first timeline to how she's portrayed in the final timeline, she goes through a really big transition after going through lots of struggle and having to overcome lots of trials, and the idea of finding the resolve to constantly keep going in her pursuit to try to save Madoka. She had to go through a lot, and you can see the result in the idea of her becoming stronger and more confident and cooler within herself. The same thing can be said for Sayaka. Sayaka, when you think about what Sayaka was like in the original series, and when you think about the transition that she makes from the original Madoka anime to Rebellion, this was another character that had to go through a lot of struggle to become a stronger person ultimately. And you could say the same thing about Kyoko. If you've read the Different Story, then you probably have a much better understanding of what Kyoko had to go through to become as strong as she ultimately becomes in the original Madoka anime and beyond. Because the Different Story showcases Kyoko at her roots when she's more or less very noobish to the idea of being a magical girl, and you obviously can tell how she changes from Different Story to the original series. So as I'm sitting here, I'm just reflecting on the fact that the girls within the Madoka series have all gone on a path of struggle in order to become stronger people. And it just sort of reminds you that we as people, in order for us to get to wherever it is that we're trying to get to, struggling is kind of inevitable. But I feel like when you think about the Madoka characters, it's really easy to use them as inspiration to kind of keep pushing. Because it's like through them, you see people that struggle and they're able to ultimately overcome those struggles through constantly trying over and over and having to undergo a lot of extreme circumstances in order to actually make things happen. I think the most important thing to learn from what the girls go through is to say that no matter how much you're struggling right now, or if you feel like a failure in whatever it is that you're trying to do, just know that your story is not over yet. And what that essentially means is that you're still alive. The fact that you're still alive means that your story is not over yet. In other words, whatever failure that you may have gone through, just know that your failures do not define who you are. They don't define who you are, and they don't mean that you can't succeed if you were to try again. It's like if you failed a test today, or if you failed at getting a job today, it doesn't mean that you can't get that pass that test tomorrow, or get that job at a later date, or get a better job. And the reason that this is the case is because you still have you. And this is something that that a lot of us tend to forget, when we're kind of in that really low point. But I just think that sometimes it's just good to have like a reminder that no matter what, no matter how hard life hits us and how bad we feel about ourselves, we still have ourselves. So therefore, we still have the opportunity to rewrite our story because we're still alive. We're still alive, and therefore, we still have a chance to change whatever circumstances that we're going through that we may not like, because because we're alive. We have ourselves, and it's a beautiful thing when you really think about it. When you think about the fact that no matter what you go through, you always have you. So that means you always have a chance to overcome whatever it is that you're trying to overcome, as long as you don't give up, as long as you keep going, and make sure that you have, loving, supportive people around you that remind you of how great you are and the fact that you still can keep going. I have this one friend who I'm very grateful for. I remember I once expressed to him that I was going through a struggle, and one of the things that he said to me that really made me feel so good, and I think that what he said is probably what's inspired this video, because as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about something that he said. He once said to me, I said to him, hey, I'm really struggling in a certain area in my life, and he said, well, you know what? From talking to you, I know that you'll figure it out. And he said that in a way where he felt very confident in what he was saying. He said that I had a habit in being, tenacious in the idea that I had the ability to figure things out on my own. So he essentially reminded me, you got this. In essence, that's what he said. He said, from talking to me and from seeing me go through certain things, he has confidence in knowing that, hey, you're the type of person who knows how to figure things out. And, and just having somebody around me say that to me made me feel so good, and it made me feel more reassurance within myself. So maybe in a very weird way, I'm making this video to sort of give that same energy to somebody else out there, because if you're somebody who is struggling right now, chances are you have probably struggled before. Like, whatever struggle you're going through right now is probably not the first struggle that you've ever gone through in your life. But you want to know something? Whatever struggle you went through in the past, you were able to overcome that struggle, and you're still here right now. That's why you're watching this video, because you overcame something, and as a result of overcoming whatever you overcame, you are here right now. So that means that you yourself, who's watching this video, you've got this. You've got this. Like, literally all you have to do is think about all the times in the past that you've overcome struggles that you've gone through. And when you think about the fact that you overcame a lot to get to where you are now, I feel like it's really easy to understand that you've done it before. You've done it before. Just think about all the things that you've gone through that made you feel like you were completely at the bottom. You've gone through so much already. And so therefore, since you've already gone through a lot, there's no reason why you will not continue to keep going, because you have you, because you're alive, because you've overcome so much already. You've overcome so much already. You're amazing. You're amazing. I think we're all amazing. We've all overcome so much. So yeah, I'm just here to remind you, no matter if you feel like a failure, you've overcome so much already. Keep going. You've got this. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can do it, no matter what. You can do it. You can do it. Let's do the cheerleading dance. You can do it. You can.